We are honored and grateful to accompany you here on the TearTales YouTube channel, where silent lives and heart-wrenching stories are preserved. In today's story segment, we are proud to bring you a deeply emotional tale about a man who once had everything and then lost it all: his job, his family, his honor, left only with memories, a pushcart, and the long nights beneath the dazzling lights of New York City under the freezing Brooklyn Bridge. Once an engineer, now nothing but a gaunt shadow pushing a cart filled with scraps. His wife left, his daughter vanished. All he had left was a tin box of memories and a faint hope that life hadn't closed its doors completely. But then a wandering child appeared, a fever in the dead of winter, a promise between the broken, and a small letter that changed everything. We invite you to listen to the story, The Dream Beneath Brooklyn Bridge, a sorrowful yet beautiful symphony of hope, of faith, and the return of love, even when the world seems to have forgotten us. New York. That winter was strangely cold. Snow blanketed the streets leading to Brooklyn, where people often dream of a better life on the other side of the legendary bridge. But to Thomas Blake, that bridge was no longer a symbol of dreams. It was a monument to the past he had lost. Thomas was once a civil engineer with a stable job, a nice home, a wife, and a little daughter. Then the crisis came. His company went bankrupt. His wife, Julia, unable to endure the hardships, took their daughter and left. Just a divorce paper and a note. "I'm sorry, I need to survive. I can't wait for you to rise again forever." Since then, Thomas wandered the streets. He wasn't addicted to drugs or gambling. He just no longer had anyone waiting for him to come home. The New York night was freezing, snow falling thick and fast. Thomas curled up under a tattered blanket, tucked inside a makeshift tent fashioned from discarded plastic sheets. The wind howled through the gaps of concrete and steel under the bridge. In the darkness, he opened the old tin box hidden under his pushcart. Inside were small but sacred items: a faded photo of his wife and daughter smiling in the sun, a purple wool scarf hand-knit by his daughter during their last Christmas together. He stared at them quietly, then smiled, a smile wet with tears. Thomas had once stood in high-rise offices, leading major construction projects. His career collapsed the moment he blew the whistle on his superior's fraud. Instead of being praised, he was fired without mercy. Unemployed, no savings, and bills piling up. His wife tried to endure until she couldn't anymore. He had chased her in the rain that day, begging, but she only shook her head. Since then, he had fallen hard. One January afternoon, as Thomas was gathering empty beer cans to exchange for a few coins, he heard a strange sound behind his cart. Turning around, he saw a skinny 10-year-old boy in a torn coat trying to steal his only loaf of bread. "Hey, kid," he called out. The boy panicked and tried to run, but his bare feet slipped in the snow and he fell. Thomas rushed over and helped him up. "You hungry?" The boy nodded, speechless. Thomas sighed and handed over his only food. "Eat. I once had a kid your age." The boy hesitated, then gobbled it down like he hadn't seen food in days. When he finished, he muttered, "My name's Leo. My mom died. I ran away from the foster home. They beat me, locked me up." Thomas gave Leo his blanket, letting him sit close to the small fire barrel he lit each night. From that night on, two strangers began living together under the Brooklyn Bridge. March came. The snow melted. Leo started helping Thomas collect recyclables. They called each other dad and son, as if they were a real family. Though they were poor, in that tiny tent, for the first time in years, Thomas felt needed. The boy gave him a reason to wake up each morning. One night, Leo came down with a high fever. Thomas ran everywhere for medicine, begged for an ambulance, but no one cared about a homeless man and a strange kid. He held the boy in his arms, whispering softly, "Don't be scared. Morning will come. I promise I won't let you die like this." The next morning, desperate, he brought Leo to the emergency room, knowing he had no insurance, no documents, and a high chance of being arrested. Miraculously, A nurse named Angela, moved by his courage, pretended Leo was her relative to get him admitted. Leo was saved, but Thomas was detained for obstructing public services. Before being taken away, he told Angela just one thing: "If you can, please tell him I didn't abandon him." 3 months later, Thomas was released. No one pressed charges. He quietly returned to his spot under the bridge, but it was empty. Now. No Leo, no tent. Only a letter taped to the wall with a brick. The letter read, "Dear Dad Thomas, I'm healthy now and Nurse Angela adopted me. She says I need to go to school. But I promise I'll never forget you, the one who gave me the warmest winter of my life. When I grow up, I'll come back here. If I don't see you, I'll keep searching until I do. Your son, Leo." Thomas stood still for a long time. He looked at the Brooklyn Bridge, now glowing in the sunset. The American dream had once slipped from his hands, but now, in his heart, another dream was stirring, not of wealth or fame, but of belief, that even the most broken among us could still give, be loved, and be called Father. One chilly autumn afternoon, under the Brooklyn Bridge, people saw an old man with silver hair sitting quietly, holding an old tin box, staring out toward the East River, bathed in golden light. That man was Thomas, older, thinner, but with a gentler look on his face, as if he had finally forgiven life. He opened the tin box, took out the faded photo and Leo's old letter. His hands trembled as he touched the familiar handwriting. Every day since his release, he had returned to this spot, not for scrap, but to wait for something. A bus pulled up at the bridge. A curly-haired teenage boy, about 16, stepped off. In his hand was a childhood drawing, a scruffy man and a pushcart full of junk. He looked around, then hesitantly walked forward. "Sir, are you Thomas?" The man turned, froze. His hands shook. The boy bowed his head, tears streaming down. "I'm Leo. I came back." Thomas said nothing. He simply opened his arms wide. Wind from the river swept through, rustling the dry leaves around the bridge. People walking by paused, then moved on, never knowing they had just witnessed one of the most extraordinary reunions of forgotten souls. No one knows what happened after that. Did Thomas get accepted into a senior center? Did Leo take him away from that bridge? Or maybe they just sat together, sharing their first dinner in years beneath the quiet streetlights. One thing is certain. The American dream for Thomas is no longer about a house, a job, or prestige. It's being remembered, found, and called Dad.